Holy fuck, still shit myself. Oh, Craig, mate, me and you're gonna have to talk about just being polite, mate.
I told you, Craig is coming in, and you
That was so loud on my end, eh? It was so loud on my end.
And has always known me by my dead name. And I guess everyone at work.
By your dead name?
Dead name, as in Sam.
Oh, well. You know what? I'm not gonna lie, it is actually quite fucking weird calling you that now.
Right? I'm not Sam anymore because I'm a new person.
See, I already feel like smiling loads when I say it, so it's not like it. No, we'll do it. It's gonna sound amazing, trust me.
Okay.
First try. Watch this fucking first try. Like Lego Batman from the movie. First try.
Welcome, pagans, heathens, and curious Christians to yet another episode of Pagan Haven, where learning builds community. I'm Astrid Dawn.
And I am James.
And we are here with yet another episode, with this one being a fan-requested episode. We were requested to talk about the Norse goddess Freya, which happens to be one of the main goddesses that I follow in my life.
Quite an interesting one as well. A lot of background.
Well, she's like one of the main gods in Norse mythology. Like, she's up there
Yeah.
with
I didn't realise how big her role was in the whole family, shall we say, until I done quite a bit of research this week.
Right. Well, so then let's just dive right on in and kind of talk about this badass goddess in Norse mythology. There's actually so many stories surrounding her. Maybe we'll get into some of them whenever we're going through this. Freya is she's seen as like one of the most beautiful women. She has like pale yellow hair. It kind of makes me think of like wheat. Or there's another goddess that actually has similar hair to her, actually. Thinking of Thor's wife. But it just resembles like a blondish gold hair.
A champion's hair of some sort, would you say?
Yeah. She also has a cloak of falcon feathers that gives her the power of flight. And that's actually because I have an altar for her. Anytime I find feathers outside from birds, I always stick it on my altar.
Do you use the same kind of feathers she uses, or do you just use feathers?
I use any feathers that I find. It's funny because
you ever find a bald eagle feather? I want to see it. I'm just putting that out there.
I don't live in an area that would have that.
I thought all America had it. I'm not gonna lie.
No, so America is very different.
You don't have to tell me.
Yeah. There's so many different climates and stuff, so some animals are here, some animals aren't here, like different places.
Man, love it.
She also rides a golden chariot pulled by 2 cats, and she's accompanied by a golden boar. Right.
Now, last time I checked, it's not usually cats that pull a chariot. So, do you know why it's a cat? Out of curiosity.
Cats are so it's kind of like the thing like where you think of Egyptians and you know how they like
treat them like gods.
Yeah, basically. Well, Freya thinks they are noble creatures, and she is like that's part of one of her attributes is cats.
Love it.
But that's just what she is described as. We want to get into her family history before we go moving on to any of like her attributes or any of the stories that we have, just so that you can figure out what we're playing with and who Freya knows and is connected to. So Freya's father, Njord, is the god of the sea, with other attributes such as seafaring, fishing, crop fertility, and wind. His mother was actually Njord's sister, who was an unnamed goddess that wasn't really mentioned about. Freya has a twin brother, Freyr. He is associated with kingship, fertility, peace, prosperity, fair weather, and good harvest. Most of the attributes that you'll see in this family are kind of surrounded by fertility and prosperity, basically, because of the fact that they're from a specific kind of race of gods, which we'll get into later.
So this different type of race of gods do things differently from the others.
Yes, basically.
They like to use
They
life
just
for
have,
life.
like, they're kind
Keep
of
it
like,
going, cycling kind of thing.
it's like a specialized type of like attributes in magic.
It's pretty cool, huh? So does that just stretch between these two families, or?
It's basically Norse mythology. Those are the families. You know, there's different types of families and different types of spiritualities, religions, and stories.
I love that. I do love how interesting all this can be and how everything's connected.
Right.
Well, that's mad how much connection goes on, because then sometimes I know something about something, right? And then I look up something, and there's just a whole other section of fucking everything. And then there's another connection, such an interesting subject, honestly.
Right.
There's so much information.
Yeah, I mean, Freya is like connected to Loki and Thor and so many other gods and goddesses throughout Norse mythology.
Loki has to be one of my favorites by a long shot.
Ugh.
God of mischief.
It. Right. So Freya's husband is named Ode, something like that.
ODR. Ard.
And he's like not really talked about much. The only time they talk about him is it's depicting about how he's away on a long journey. And some people actually believe that it's actually Odin that was her husband. Because there's like a history about Odin and Freya being like married or lovers or something. So they actually believe that that's why he's always away on a long journey, because it's actually Odin.
Well, out of curiosity, I'm just going to check this in here. As you say that. Now, did Odin not sleep with a human? And he created what they called Nephilims?
Yes, Odin actually
half god, half human.
Did do that.
Holy shit. I knew something. Fuck yeah. Sorry. I'm happy with that.
It's actually like common among gods that they're just unfaithful to each other.
Bunch of slags. Sorry. Shouldn't be saying that. It's the gods. Do apologize.
I mean, they're gods, so I don't know, like what would you do in that kind of situation, you know?
Depending on what god I am, there'd be multiple things I'd do, and I definitely wouldn't be sleeping with my other people around me. As a god, I'd love to see what you could change for a better.
Yeah, and that's how we would see it, because we started out as mortals, you know? It's all about
mortals?
Yes.
No, reincarnation's a thing.
Well, I mean, like, right now, like, on this plane, there's different realms.
Oh, yeah, 110%.
So, like, we're immortal in this realm. We're the current apex species on the planet.
Yeah, I don't think we should be. Take away everything we've made, we're not really apex material.
Right.
We're more like on an MN kind of scale.
I don't know. I would vote for elephants.
See, now I want to agree with you, but sloths are really cute, so I'm going with the sloths. They can also be very violent.
Well, I meant, like, elephants are really smart. Like, I was thinking on a, like, who would deserve it better thing.
Oh, that belongs to the apes, then. They dealt with shit for God knows how long.
I mean, yeah, them too.
Or giraffes.
Dolphins.
I'd love to see them rule the world. Oh. I take
I
that,
think the
giraffes.
gods would prefer that too, honestly.
That's just complete fuckery. I
Well,
love
not
it.
just that, but most of their attributes always include, just like how Freya, she has a boar and cats and stuff like that. So, like, they all have attributes that are animals.
You're not wrong.
Anyways, so Freya and this Odin, whoever it is, has maybe 2 daughters. So they have Nos and Gersemi. I can't say those names. But they are like rarely ever spoken about, and they're only really mentioned to note that their names mean beauty. So some believe that it's actually just one daughter known by many names that are, beauty. But they're never really talked about, so there's not really much on them.
Did not know that.
So now that we talked about the history and whatnot, we're gonna get into like her attributes and the stories around her. Before we get into the rest of this episode, I wanted to let you guys know about some things that are coming up. James and I have decided that we want to try to get this as bi-weekly. We went back and forth about how often we wanted to be able to do videos and podcasts for you guys, and we settled on bi-weekly. So we're hoping to bring an episode out to you guys every other Monday. We also have our new line of shirts that are going to be dropping on November 1st, which I'm so excited about. All of our moderators that help us out in our Discord and whatnot, they all posed for us, and one of my good friends helped me out because I needed someone to pose in a man's shirt, so that was awesome. But I look forward to it, so make sure you're looking at our store on November 1st. We also still have our runes and our rune witch boxes. But I'm hoping to get some more stuff that's going to be dropping soon in our store. So make sure you check out astridsarmy.com to find out everything that's going on with not just Pagan Haven, but the Spellcaster's store as well. So one of Freya's most notable attributes was love and fertility. As a member of the Vanir family of gods, Freya is a fertility goddess who ensures good crops and large families. Vanir are a group of gods associated with fertility, wisdom, and the ability to see the future.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah, there are 2 types of gods, and I know you were talking about this earlier, James, is the Aesir and the Vanir, that are the 2 types of gods.
Yeah. It's interesting that there's different types of gods. Not sure what it overlay means, but I'm sure we'll go find out.
But like earlier, we were talking about the different kinds of families in Norse mythology. They are called the Aesir and the Vanir. And they are like the 2 prominent families in the Norse mythology. The Aesir are from Asgard, and that's Odin and his family, where the Vanir are the ones that are on Vanaheim, which means home of Vanirs. So, Vanaheim is about just fertility and prosperity. And they're also known for their specific type of magic, which is, I think is pronounced Satyr, which is basically seeing and being able to manipulate the future.
What would you call that? Like, we'll not call it their magic name, but what would we call that in superhero power terms? Being able to see and manipulate the future. Yeah.
It would be someone who could time travel.
Oh.
So I have this belief, and I'm not sure, like, because I'm just someone who studied mythologies and spiritualities because I was interested in them. So I don't know everything, but I know a lot of things, and I love to be able to talk about it, research it, whatever. With that being said,
That was a good
I
debate.
believe, I believe that there are different realms, whether they're the 9 realms or whether there's more than that, less than that, whatever it is. But I believe that all these realms are happening at the same time, but all the time. So that there are
I
particular
agree.
people. Yeah, so like there are particular people, like these satyrs, who can time travel.
Can we put an interesting spin on it? Now, I completely agree with what you're saying, but I think every universe, every parallel timeline is all running at the same time, the same place. Everything is going all as one machine.
Yes, but what I'm saying is those other, like, people who can manipulate time, it's all time, all the time. So, like, all the time is happening. Basically, I believe that time is like a circle. Or have you ever seen the show, The Good Place?
No, but I'm thinking about Doctor Who. Can we reference him in any of this? Oh,
I've
he
never
just
seen
timey away me shit.
I've never seen it, but basically I believe that, like, it's like a circle. It just goes around and around and around. So, like, it's never like you can be ahead or behind. All time happens at the same time.
Oh, damn, dude. This is some
That's-
philosophical shit right here.
I
Like,
know. I like to learn
it's an interesting
it.
fact. See, I never knew the gods had so much to do with the time and everything else like that, so it's a really lovely aspect to be learning right now.
Well, here's the thing. You brought up about it being like superhero stuff. I believe that superheroes are modern day mythology. Like, because they're just telling stories of what gods have done.
You're fucking with my head, Like, we're going
Philosophies
not in a bad way. This is a conversation we're going to have when I have some sleep. We're having this conversation. But holy damn, mate. Like, my head is burst. It's thinking of all sorts of mad shit right now after you said that. But I can completely see where you're coming from. We're using superheroes as like, yeah,
way
if you
to
follow
tell
the
stories.
timeline. It's nuts, huh?
So Freya has love and fertility, which are the good aspects, the golden aspects, the more prosperity and growth and whatnot. But she also has a completely opposite side of her, where she has the attribute for war and death.
Like the yin and yang. She has a complete and utter angelic side, and then you've got the pure evil side with death and what was the other one? Sorry,
War.
Death and war. Yeah, so it's quite weird that she's two different and completely opposite embodiments, but the one person.
Right, right. It makes me always think of Hell, because she has the half dead side of her, and like half flesh, half not, you know. What most people actually don't know is, so like everyone says they're gonna go to Valhalla, to Odin, but Freya actually chooses first and half of the warriors to go to her sacred meadow of Folkren. Oh my goodness. I cannot say that. I cannot tell you how many times I listened to this freaking thing on here to try to say this freaking word, and I just pronounced it wrong again. Video to tell me how to say that. Folkvang. Okay, I got it.
Chill, dude. Don't worry. Don't get stressed when you can't say it. Turn it into a joke so we can head it up in the blooper reel, yeah.
Folkvang. Okay.
I'm over 12 years old. Let's stop saying frickin' and you can use the word fuck.
I'm trying to monitor.
I'm not gonna get offended.
Monitor my rage, because I am just so angry that just happened. I sat here.
You have a Scottish person here. You can't moderate rage. Rage.
You know what? We're gonna move on. She has sacred meadows. People go there. Magic. Her other attribute, magic.
She pulls a rabbit from the hat, motherfucker.
Yes!
Woo!
No, so we were talking earlier about Freya having, or Vanir's having a magic called Satyr. Freya is the master of this. It's a form of magic that allows her to see and influence the future. It doesn't specifically say past, but the way like we were just talking about it being time travel, I feel like that was also a thing that she could do. But that's not actually specifically said. But you were saying this to me, like how you knew this, but Freya taught Odin this magic.
Yeah, so the magic practiced in the Viking world, known as Sadir, or however you pronounce it.
Satyr.
Satyr. According to legend, Volva witches practiced this kind of magic in the art form of Freya, or Freyja.
Yeah, so Volva were like her sorceresses, basically. They were the ones who dedicated their life to the art of this magic.
So they were the embodiments of the spell, really, or whatever they were doing with this magic. These hosts, or we'll call them witches, I guess, because that would be the correct term. These witches would use themselves and sacrifice themselves just to be able to allow Freyja to produce a spell. Makes it more powerful using concentrating the source through other people, her own followers.
It helped amplify her magic.
It'd be an honor for anyone if your god came up to you and went, "Here, I need your help."
Right.
You're going to be the embodiment of some cool stuff.
Basically, it was an honor for them. Yeah, you like to think that you would never do that, but I mean, if an actual god came down to you and said that, like, what would you do?
Yeah, I'd be gone. I'd be gone, mate. I'm doing magic with the gods, Like, fucking realistically, as a Scottish person, if that ever happened to me, one of the Greek gods ever came down and went, "Here, mate, you want to be a follower and come practice some of my magic?" It'd probably be, hell yeah. Like, it's not just going to be practicing magic and just that. There's going to be so much more that comes with it and that you can gain from it.
Mm-hmm. You're ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I've been told that a couple of times. I really have.
By who?
You. Oh, and you just said it a minute ago. Believe it or not.
Anyway, the next attribute, because we're gonna chug along here, is beauty. Obviously, she's the most beautiful woman in the world.
Obviously, I should talk about this being the most handsome person ever. I got this one. I'm joking.
I mean, you say you're a god all the time, so...
Different kind of god. I'm not on their level.
Okay. Beauty is something that's very, like... Well, it's beauty and passion for fine jewelry, basically. And one of the big stories that is known about Freya is that she saw... Well, these dwarves, there were 4 dwarves. Afric, Burling, Dalvin, and Gur. I'm sorry if I'm saying these wrong. But...
Dwarf names are hard to pronounce, don't worry, Hen.
It was forged in the kingdom of the dwarves, which was called Svartalheim. Which, that one I actually got! So proud of myself.
Proud of you too.
So, and Svartalheim... I give up. Okay.
And you fucked it. I was so proud of you there, and it just went south.
Anyway, so they had the most beautiful necklace in all the realms, all the worlds, whatever. And she had to own it. So she, like, went up to them and was like, hey, like, I'll give you all the gold, all the silver, anything you want for this necklace. And because Freya was known for her beauty and everything, and she's all about love and fertility, they said, we don't want your treasures, they don't mean anything to us, but we will give you this necklace if you spend the night with each of us.
So she traded her body for jewelry.
It actually happens quite often in Norse mythology.
There's a word for that.
In general, yeah. It's quite common.
Who?
But
No, I'm joking. But
anyways,
well, I mean,
the necklace's name was Bringamen, which broken down it means fire jewelry. Some other aspects that attributes that Freya has is wealth, obviously, because she has all the jewelry, gold, whatever. Cats, which we talked about earlier, and her boar, which is Hildisvani, I believe is how it's pronounced. He is a wild boar that has golden bristles. And it's funny, and we're going to talk about a story of Freya. She rides this boar looking for her lost husband. There's stories of it. And then there's stories that say that this boar, Hildisvani, is actually her husband transformed into a boar, that she just doesn't know it. Like, there's a lot of stories around her husband and the boar. One of my favorite stories about Freya actually doesn't really involve Freya as much, because it actually has something to do with a blind giant, Thor, and Loki. This giant stole Thor's Mjolnir, his hammer, and it was like Thor asked Loki for help. He needed the trickster god to be able to help, because they go and ask the giant, like, how will you give me my hammer back? And he says, only if the goddess Freya marries me. To which Thor goes and asks Freya, obviously, Thor and Loki, but they go to ask her if she will do this favor for them, and obviously she's going to say no to that. She doesn't want to marry some blind giant just so that Thor can get his hammer.
how did a giant get the hammer, though? You have to be worthy to pick up Mjolnir. You can't just be like anything and pick it up. Like, the giant must have been worthy.
It honestly doesn't say. Not that I see. It just says that he stole Thor's hammer, Mjolnir.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery we'll never know.
Anyways, so what they end up doing is they steal Freya's necklace, Ooh, let me look at my notes again so I don't actually say it wrong. Bracingamen? And he uses it to disguise himself as Freya, because she's well known for this beautiful necklace. And with the giant having, like, the horrible eyesight, he thought that he would be able to disguise himself enough to fool the giant, to marry him and steal the hammer. Loki actually ended up dressing as Freya's handmaiden to join Thor in this escapade. So Freya wasn't actually, like, in the story, but because of the fact of her beauty and her well-known, like, being so well-known, it gets a lot of times in Norse mythology, it gets a lot of things in trouble. They always want to marry Freya.
She has this weird attraction that when these certain males or gods
we talked
lay
about it
eyes on
before,
her, they're
because
just
when we were talking about
instantly
Loki
stuck.
and his children and stuff, we talked about how they were building the wall, and the giant would only build it if he could marry Freya.
Yeah.
But there was a stipulation that if he didn't build it in a certain amount of time, then the thing would, like, they wouldn't pay him. Yeah.
Be null and void.
It's just crazy. Freya just has a hold on everyone. She's kind of like Athena and whatnot. But yeah, that's the Norse goddess Freya. She's very interesting. I love working with her. She's actually very patient. She's patient, but she's vindictive too, because sometimes, like, Spencer will make a deal with her to be like, oh, just make this work and I'll do this. And if he doesn't, because he's a procrastinator, if he doesn't do it right away, she starts messing with him. And he even says it. He's like, oh, it's because I need to do it.
That's funny, yeah. He just knows. He just keeps
right.
forgetting it.
Right. But anyways, next time we are going to be talking about 4 different gods because we're going to get into Egyptian gods where I'm going to talk about Bast and Ra.
So I picked Osiris and Amun because I followed a little bit of Osiris in different aspects, and I just picked Amun because of his name, Amun. I'm quite intrigued on what Amun does, so I'm looking forward to getting to find out as much as I can about him and shit.
Right, right. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed our ranting, our raving, and the information that we had brought to you. You guys have a wonderful couple weeks because hopefully we're going to start doing these episodes bi-weekly. So we will see you at the next episode.
Bye, Craig.